everyone in the church was active. There wasn't the kind of thing where you say, oh, let somebody else do it. They all were. They were a very responsible group of people. And I'm talking about the older generation and the new generation.
It was just like family. You know, we had kids, we had adults, we had old people, and it was a parish that was just like a family.
What I also appreciated about the parish was the feeling of extended family.
The first priest I remember is Father Peter Semkoff, and he baptized me. We lived on Center Street, and we had to walk to church, and that was a long way to go. So we didn't get to go to church very often then, until Father Popov arrived. Father Popov had a Russian school, and he had the young people, and he would travel to Rockdale, and he had a group of children from there, and he had a class in Russian.
Father Popov, he had a vision, I suppose. Young men went away to the war, and the women were left, and so they formed an organization. Ladies ate an altar circle to take care of the needs of the church.
And there were older ladies and middle-aged women and young women and very young women.
And they were always active in serving meals and sponsoring banquets so that the people would have. They used to have dances, and people in the neighborhood remembered coming to the St. Nicholas Hall for dances. I think that ladies pride themselves, that they were really helpful. I remember Metropolitan coming saying, first thing he knows when he comes to a parish, do you have a ladies' organization? Because you have to depend, on the ladies.
Interesting.
They do everything.
We worked very well together, and it was really one of my most rewarding experiences.
When Father Borshevsky came, and I would have been, already in high school, he really was very encouraging, and we were just at the cusp of changing from Slavonic to the English language, which was pretty monumental when you stop and think about it now.
And then we started the FROC.
And what is that?
That was Federal Russian Orthodox Clubs of America, and that was the young people. Each parish had a chapter. We were chapter 151.
It was really a pretty dynamic time, and I think the church really did a spurt in faith and growth at that time because of those new people.
When was the church remodeled and had pews put in and the choir loft? Because it wasn't originally like that, was
No, that was during Father Borshevsky's time. And then John Plotko built the two smaller pews in the front for the children.
He and a lot of the older men were the ones that did the remodeling. I mean, I can remember he would grab me by the hand and say, we're going somewhere, and we'd be gone for maybe 5-6 hours after he got home from work, and we'd be working down at the old church hall or doing something at the church, remodeling. There was always a constant doing.
I miss him because anything that needs to be done, he did. He would make. He made the kiosks for the icons on the iconostas, the little Christ and Virgin, and the icons, some of the icons are still in our church, the ones that we had, the main ones, Christ and the Virgin and the angels, St. Nicholas and St. John the Baptist. We took those icons to the new iconostas. Our men's club made the iconostas for us, and the men would volunteer their services, and it was carried over to our new church.
school started, I talked to Sophie Beloy, and she was interested in a church school. So at that time I was president of the Ladies' Aid, and we went to the church council and asked if we could have a church school, and they said yes. So then we started out, Sophie started out with 17 students.
She had really thought about the curriculum, and she had classes by age, and then asked other persons to teach. And they had wonderful presentations. You know, the talent that the kids had, they shared it with us. I thought it was really wonderful.
We had little skits, and then we had naturally songs, and we had quite a few children that were musical. So in the talent show, some of the kids did Russian dances, and some did instrumentals, and then we had sort of a band. Steve Plotko was the pianist.
And your mother there had puppets on the screen.
Yeah.
Those were really
That was cute.
favorites of the kids.
When I was ordained, Archbishop John asked, you know, there are 2 openings in Pennsylvania and in Joliet. And he let us choose where we would like to be ordained.
And when we were coming down Clay Street, no, was that Clay Street? Mm-hmm. There were a lot of churches on Clay Street. And there were,
Jackson Street it was, in Clay Street.
well, up at the top of the hill,
Yeah.
we had some brick churches, and we got down to our little church.
And people had food for us in the refrigerator. And it was a very nice welcome.
Very nice, warm group.
Yes. But Father Popov was here, and he taught the choir quite a bit. And they sang the liturgy and Vespers, and it was beautiful.
And we learned the Christmas carols in Russian or Slavonic
Tell
too.
about the Christmas caroling.
We would have maybe 2 groups of people in a car, or 2 cars, and we would all visit and sing a selection of Christmas carols. And so it was like Christmas Day even, and
Yeah.
the day after. And it seems like the day would end up at somebody's house for a little impromptu party. That was really something. I mean, we didn't sit at home with family on Christmas Day. We were out
No, that was out.
working, out in the road, working the families, you know.
And that's another thing I remember is the choir practices at the old St. Nicholas Church.
Was Steve the director at
He
that
was
time?
the director.
How old was he when he started directing?
Probably from the time I was 10 or 11. I know I was, singing like the young people do now. I think when I was in 8th grade that I wanted to be either a music teacher or I wanted to be a performer or both or whatever, how it came, but it was going to be music.
Your brother. Can we talk about your brother a
Oh,
little
sure.
bit? What are your memories of your brother John growing up in the church and when he decided to become a priest?
He was just sort of a rock solid young man. He knew where he was going. He was fun. He was, just like any of the other kids that he grew up with. It was certainly that. And I think he was just a people person, so it was very, probably almost obvious, although I wasn't seeing it at the time, that where he was headed. And of course my dad he was probably so proud that, one of his sons was going to become a priest that he was, I'm sure he didn't put any undue influence on my brother, but he was there as a real support for him in making that decision and going on into the priesthood.
The time went by so fast that it's hard to think. It seems just like yesterday.
Going back to the very beginnings, those older people, their whole outlook on life. I mean, there were people who worked, and they were very serious about their work. They were very serious about the church, about what they believed. They were protectors of the faith, and they certainly would have been. And it's upon the probably the progress and upon the work that those people early on did, that we are able to be, talking here today and thinking about the parish in its 100th year. I wonder if they, probably not.
No.